Watching WYLN TV 35. Now, from the area's leader in live local news, this is WYLN News, the area's #1 source of live local news and information in Luzerne, Schuylkill, Carbon, and Columbia counties. WYLN News starts now.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on WYLN News. I'm Julia Wiegand. A Hazleton man's behind bars for allegedly sexually assaulting a female last Sunday. The unidentified victim went to the emergency department at Lehigh Valley Hospital, Hazleton, for a shoulder injury that happened during the alleged rape. That's where she told police that 57-year-old Domingo Lique Tejera got into bed with her and demanded sex. When she refused, he allegedly assaulted her. He was arrested and charged with rape and sexual assault and was taken to prison after being unable to post $500,000 bail. State police have released the names of the victims that tragically died in an interstate pileup back in March. The accident happened along Interstate 81 in Schuylkill County back on March 28th as the result of a snow squall. Over 30 commercial and 41 passenger vehicles were involved in the crash that left 6 people dead. They have been identified as Rita Matos and Edward Ramos, both of Carlisle, William Douglas of West Virginia, Terry Stahl and Douglas Teeter of Massachusetts, and Domingo Diaz of New York. Positive identifications were made using the victim's DNA. Reading and Northern Railroad recently purchased the former North Campus of the Kovach Fire Truck Company. The Kovach Company was previously sold 6 years ago to KME, who's part of the Rev Group. KME decided to close down operations in Nesquehoning this past fall, and the property was put up for sale. The complex contains 9 buildings spread out over 10 acres of land and sits in the middle of the 400-mile rail system that runs south from Reading to Hazleton and north to Scranton and Mahoopany. The railroad's planning to place important parts of their freight and passenger operations in Nesquehoning. They say you are what you eat, but be aware of what you're consuming. An unidentified driver was pulled over by Wilkes-Barre police near the Hanover Industrial Estates shortly after 4 p.m. Tuesday. Officers noticed that the driver appeared to be under the influence and said the individual allegedly ate marijuana during the traffic stop. The driver was taken to an area hospital for a blood test and will now be facing charges for the incident. A brutal assault sent one man to the hospital and another to prison following a Wednesday night altercation in Luzerne County. 51-year-old Kevin Eugene Perry of Kingston allegedly knocked out James Jones onto a sidewalk in the area of Market Street and Wyoming Avenue shortly before 8 p.m. Video surveillance showed Perry repeatedly punching Jones and stomping on him with his foot. Jones was found bleeding from the head and unrecognizable and was taken to an area hospital for what was said to be traumatic brain injuries. Perry, on the other hand, was taken into custody and charged with aggravated assault, simple assault, recklessly endangering another person, and terroristic threats. He was denied bail after being deemed a threat to society. Police in Pottsville arrested a man for allegedly stealing a Jeep Wrangler earlier this week. According to police, 27-year-old Michael Cicero stole the keys to the vehicle from a relative's house on Tuesday. He was spotted by officers driving the Jeep in Orwigsburg a short time later. Cicero was arrested and charged with vehicle theft, receiving stolen property, and driving with a suspended license. He was taken to Schuylkill County Prison for lack of $20,000 straight cash bail. The Hazleton Housing Authority is requesting a federal inspection waiver as it continues to deal with pandemic aftermath. The authority is asking the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development for a waiver for 2022 to improve its designation from a standard to high performer since the score dropped following their 2019 inspection. At that time, the authority missed the higher designation by 1 point. HUD hasn't conducted physical inspections for 2 years, granting COVID-19 waivers, as the effects of the pandemic, such as staffing and material shortages, continue. State police and PennDOT are raising awareness for litter enforcement efforts to help clean up the Commonwealth. Officials are stressing the importance of proper litter disposal and the penalties of littering in Pennsylvania. The pandemic saw an increase of litter, as well as more takeout containers, masks, and gloves than ever before. PennDOT said it greatly values its Adopt a Highway volunteers, but due to the scale of the litter problem, the department still invests over $12 million per year to pick it up. More than 5,000 groups clean up 8,000 miles of state highways, but the pandemic also created a decrease in volunteers. Since tomorrow's Earth Day, find out how you can help keep the Commonwealth clean. The price tag on the Hazleton City Authority's water filtration plant and distribution system upgrades could jump, thanks to supply chain and construction cost increases. HCA approved a resolution to apply for $3.5 million from the Pennsylvania Infrastructure Investment Authority. Funding would go toward equipment to treat drinking water, pump and intake line improvements, and water control and chemical feed system upgrades at the filtration plant. The funding application resolution replaces one that originally requested $2.5 million from the state agency. The Justice Department seeking to overturn a judge's order voiding the federal mass transit mask mandate. The CDC asked the DOJ to appeal the decision handed down by a federal judge in Florida that struck down the national mask mandate for mass transit on Monday. The decision led airplanes and airports to repeal their requirements, as TSA stated that it would no longer enforce the mask mandate. The CDC stated Wednesday that it continues to assess at this time that, quote, an order requiring masking in the indoor transportation corridor remains necessary for the public health. The CDC recently extended the mask mandate to allow more time to study the BA.2 Omicron subvariant, but Monday's court ruling put that decision on hold. An extension on student loan repayments is giving more time for both borrowers to prepare and scammers to target them. A new scam on the rise involves people receiving phone calls, text messages, and emails about their payment or lowering it in exchange for money. Scammers are also contacting borrowers about not wanting their auto debit to start with their servicer and are asking for bank account info to make sure it's right. Servicers have changed over the last few years, making it difficult for borrowers since some don't know whom their servicers actually are. Experts say it's uncommon to receive a call from a provider and that you're more likely to receive a letter by mail. You should never give out any confidential information over the phone and always check for information on the federal student loan website. Coming up on Wyln News, it's lights out in Harrisburg, plus details on Ford's latest recall. But first, we'll take a look at our 5-day forecast brought to you by the Wyln Weather Kids. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Ezra. I'm 5 years old, and it's sunny out, so break your sunglasses.
We want your child to be our WYLN Weather Kid. Your child can be our feature weather reporter of the day on WYLN News and WYLN social media posts, just by using your smartphone or any video recording device. It's easy. All ages are welcome, from toddlers to teens. To find out how, go to the weather section of WYLNTV.com or look for our post about it on the WYLN News Facebook page. Submit your Weather Kid video today.
Penn State Hazleton is improving the lives of others, starting in our community.
Providing degrees that meet the needs of the area.
Fueling entrepreneurship and contributing more than $36 million annually to the state's economy.
Researching the health of our local ecosystem on the Susquehanna River.
Together, our impact keeps growing, backed by the strength of 24 campuses and 700,000 alumni.
Come shoot at Whitetail Preserve 118 Boulevard Road in Bloomsburg. Their skeet, trap, and sporting clay fields are professionally designed, and all stations are handicapped accessible. Whitetail Preserve has resident shooting instructors certified by the NRA in shotgun, rifle, pistol, home safety, and personal protection in the home. Whitetail can also cater any size event, whether it be a private party, corporate event, or wedding. Call 570-384-2314 or 570-790-8969.
Like and follow WYLN News on Facebook for the midday WYLN News update, posted between noon and 2 p.m. Powered by Lehigh Valley Hospital Hazleton, the all-new emergency room at Lehigh Valley Hospital Hazleton is nearly double the size. Our updated facility features all private rooms, the latest technology, and a quicker, easier check-in process. Lehigh Valley Hospital Hazleton, your partner in ER care.
Funeral arrangements were announced for Bishop John Doherty, who passed away on Saturday. Reception of the bishop, followed by public visitation, will take place Monday, April 25th from 2 until 8 p.m. at the Cathedral of St. Peter in Scranton. The next funeral service will be held April 26th, with public visitation from 9 to 10:45 a.m. The burial mass will begin at 11. An interment will be held at Cathedral Cemetery in Scranton. All within the Diocese of Scranton are welcome to attend and participate in the Vespers services and funeral masses. They'll also be televised on CTV and live streamed on the Diocese of Scranton website. The city of Harrisburg's going lights out to bring down light pollution and help birds as they migrate for the spring and fall. The Lights Out program applies to higher level and internal building lights at night during bird migration seasons as they travel through the city and state capital in large numbers. The program starts April 1st as peak spring migration does and ends May 31st when most will have already passed through. The Lights Out program will start up again during peak fall migration, which runs from August 15th through November 15th as birds travel south. Up to 1 billion birds die each year nationwide due to flying toward buildings and windows and being confused by bright artificial lights at night. The Bloomsburg Fair Raceway will kick off their big night of open wheel racing this evening. The race will feature a first ever appearance of the Tezos All-Star Circuit of Champions presented by Mobil 1 with a $6,000 to win main event. Races will feature all-pro speedsters, the 410 Winged All-Stars, and the infamous PA Posse as they make their way to the Bloomsburg Fair track. The speedsters compete weekly through the summer with superstar drivers from multiple racing venues and will fill out a 20-race schedule this year. The racetrack will also feature a kids zone with pedal cars, a special victory lane photo area, and a coloring contest, as well as Pocono Raceway Kids Day giveaways. Ford issued a recall that affects nearly 650,000 pickup trucks and SUVs due to windshield wipers breaking and failing. Certain 2020 and 2021 model years of F-150 through 550 pickups, Expeditions, and Lincoln Navigator SUVs are experiencing the issue. Documents posted by U.S. safety regulators say that the teeth on the wipers are the incorrect height, which causes the wiper arms to become stripped. Owners will be notified in a letter starting May 23rd, and dealers will replace both front windshield wiper arms. Coming up on Orangeville's News Choice, we've got Safe With Us again in Community and You, plus Leading the Way, Part 4. And stay with us for everything else we have lined up for you later tonight on WYLN TV.
Heisler's Cloverleaf Dairy is now open at 743 Catawissa Road in Tamaqua. Stop by the Dairy Bar, try over 33 flavors of homemade ice cream still made on the premises, and a full menu of hot food made to order. Have some fun at their driving range, or play mini golf on their 2 18-hole mini golf courses. Heisler's Cloverleaf Dairy, celebrating 65 years. Same great taste, same great location, same great memories to be made.
If you're looking for an affordable pre-owned car or truck, Jura's Auto Sales has a great lineup of clean, dependable, and quality vehicles. Stop in 610 North Broad Street, West Hazelton, 570-454-7229.
Membership opportunities are now available at the Valley Country Club, 79 Country Club Lane in Sugarloaf. Clubhouse upgrades are in progress and will be ready for the spring. Call Frank Radis for details at 570-233-5328.
Come shoot at Whitetail Preserve, 118 Boulevard Road in Bloomsburg. Their skeet, trap, and sporting clay fields are professionally designed, and all stations are handicap accessible. Whitetail Preserve has resident shooting instructors certified by the NRA in shotgun, rifle, pistol, home safety, and personal protection in the home. Whitetail can also cater any size event, whether it be a private party, corporate event, or wedding. Call 570-384-2314 or 570-790-8969.
You always get a feel-good shopping experience at Grand Central in Hazleton.
Have you ever experienced that super pushy salesperson who follows you all around? Not here.
Or wandered around that big box store looking for help in the appliance department only to find the pink guy? Not here.
And we have an experienced, courteous sales staff here to help you find the perfect mattress, piece of furniture, or appliance with no pressure.
And don't forget, everyday low prices.
You always get a feel-good shopping experience at Grand Central in Hazleton.
PPW Nation, get ready for the best of PPW Season 2. Join Paul Bowe, E. Julius Kuiper, Alexander Bravado, Tom Mitchell, and Alex Watt as we take you down memory lane and relive some of the best PPW matches of all time. Saturdays at 5 p.m., Sundays at 10 p.m., only on WYLN.
Do you like craft beer? Do you want to learn the right way to sample wine? How about checking out a restaurant with a unique flavor or a crazy food challenge? These are just some of the things we are featuring on Wine, Hops, and Road Stops. So, spend some time learning about great wine, great beer, and great food on WYLN TV 35.
Did you know that WYLN News provides news updates every weekday afternoon
at 1, 3, and 5 here on TV and on social media?
Did you also know you can watch WYLN News on the go by visiting our website or YouTube page?
Now more than ever,
WYLN is your local news leader. Welcome to Community and You, and today we have Eileen Perchak. She is the Executive Director of SAFE, and we invited Eileen because April is a big month to talk about autism. And let's talk about SAFE and autism. What goes on at SAFE?
Hi, thanks for having us back. There's a lot that goes on at SAFE. We have programs for people from 2 to 92. We really concentrate on the social aspect of the programs because most people, and especially starting with the children and going up, these kids work very, very hard. They're in ABA therapy, they're in speech therapy, occupational. So these kids are working close to 40 hours a week. So we provide an outlet where these kids can go and simply be kids. The other thing we concentrate on is that we don't feel just the person is affected with autism, we feel your whole family unit is affected, because it is. Mm-hmm. So we do all of our programs center around the family, whatever your family dynamic is. We go bowling, we go roller skating, we go ice skating, we go camping. We have one-on-one swim lessons that we house at the Wilkes-Barre YMCA, Pittston, and Carbondale, because the number one accidental reason children on the spectrum die is drowning. Oh. So we have a program that we developed that builds on life-saving skills, and they go once a week for a half hour for a private lesson. We have music lessons. We have one-on-one music lessons for the children. We have art lessons that are housed at the Misericordia Hub. We have social programs for pals and teens. And now our adult program is really starting to bloom because children that are autistic grow up to be autistic adults, and this population is really blooming. I think the reason it's getting so large is at 21, a lot of the services for people on the spectrum end, and then parents and caregivers are stuck. They really don't know what to do, and a lot of these people just want to go out and have a friend. So we have an adult social group that we go out once a month. We just did bowling 2 Sundays ago. We did a pizza night. This coming month, we're doing a gaming night for them. We're doing a Rail Riders game. We'll be going to Montage over the summer. So we have tons of programs that we have scheduled.
Interesting when you talk about adults, because one of the things that we're hearing now is, and again, you mentioned being on the spectrum. There are perhaps, since many years ago, there were no people who were talking. You've told us that before. So now you may have people who adapted, if that might be the correct word, up into their 40s, 50s, and you mentioned 92, and now find out that it's autism.
If you look, historically speaking, if you look at like the very borderline brilliant savant people in history, Einstein, those kind of people, if you look, they were probably on the spectrum. I know in my age bracket, you didn't see a lot of it because they weren't diagnosed, they weren't mainstreamed. So a lot of these kids, you're right, kind of adapted or, just kind of made it through school to get to adulthood. We now have places that will diagnose adults with autism. We are part of something called the ACE Collaborative, is the Autism Centers of Excellence. And that is based out of the University of Scranton. There's 5 hubs around northeast and central Pennsylvania, and one of those hubs is here in Hazleton, and they have an adult testing site. So you can call the Hazleton hub if you suspect that you have autism, or if one of your loved ones and has never been diagnosed, they now can diagnose you as an adult, which virtually was never heard of before.
Wow, you're really involved in, what aren't you involved in, I guess? That's probably the question. So now when people are hearing this and they're learning more about autism, especially during the month of April where it is really focused, have you been finding that people are responding differently when they hear autism and they're saying, oh, now I get it?
I would say yes, simply because I think it's more prevalent these days. The numbers are rising on the number of children. Actually, that's a lie. The numbers are actually dropping a little bit on the children that are diagnosed. But I think, again, I go back to, we didn't hear autism when you and I were growing up. Right. So now virtually everybody you talk to say, oh, my grandson, my niece, my nephew, my child is diagnosed. So I think it's more people are being touched by it. So I think in that respect, people are more accepting.
Well, we're going to have you back, Eileen.
Thank you.
We're going to have you on another, in the very near future, another Community in You, and talk more about SAFE and about autism.
Abby is still perfecting her sidekick, and her jab is just for show. But for Abby, this is a remarkable day, because Abby recently defeated a real foe, cancer, when she partnered with Lehigh Valley Riley Children's Hospital, a children's hospital close to home with more than 30 pediatric specialties. Take a bow, Abby. You deserve it. Lehigh Valley Riley Children's Hospital. Your health deserves a partner.
TJ's Chimney Service professional and complete chimney service. Cleans, rebuilds, stainless steel liners, custom concrete poured chimney crowns. Fully licensed and insured, all work guaranteed. Roofing services also available. Call 570-861-0027.
Like and follow WYLN News on Facebook for the midday WYLN News update, posted between noon and 2 p.m. Tomorrow's care starts today with Lehigh Valley Hospital Hazleton, your ER partner.
Join us later for Let's Talk Chiropractic when we talk about how Danelle went from sweating, nervous, terrified of her first adjustment to a happy, wonderful patient that she is today. Join us.
Penn State Hazleton is improving the lives of others, starting in our community.
Providing degrees that meet the needs of the area.
Fueling entrepreneurship and contributing more than $36 million annually to the state's economy.
Researching the health of our local ecosystem on the Susquehanna River.
Together, our impact keeps growing, backed by the strength of 24 campuses and 700,000 alumni.
Come shoot at Whitetail Preserve, 118 Boulevard Road in Bloomsburg. Their skeet, trap, and sporting clay fields are professionally designed, and all stations are handicapped accessible. Whitetail Preserve has resident shooting instructors certified by the NRA in shotgun, rifle, pistol, home safety, and personal protection in the home. Whitetail can also cater any size event, whether it be a private party, corporate event, or wedding. Call 570-384-2314 or 570-790-8969. WYLN CA35's children's programming is designed with the specific purpose of serving the educational and informational needs of children. In compliance with FCC guidelines, a copy of the Children's Programming Report is on file for public inspection at 647 State Route 93, Sugarloaf, Pennsylvania 18249 during regular business hours. To view the report online, visit fcc.org.
WYLN's going behind the scenes to learn more about the lives and goals of our local leaders. So, Sandy Kirshner is leading the way again into part 4 of this week's series.
And welcome back to this week's Leading the Way with Sandy Kirshner. So, is there any special initiative you guys do, especially being, as you said before, a program that really educates and is the, as you put it, the Google of autism?
Right. So we do have some specific programming that we're looking at. If you go to the ACE Facebook page and website, people can find the links for past webinars we've done. We actually held a webinar, one of our partners in Williamsport, which is funny, we're talking about language, the language that we use in the neurodiverse community to talk about different issues. So just a lot of educating in that way. We also run a series for autism educators, so in the schools, that can also be found on the website. So we don't specifically have anything upcoming, just our normal programming. Well, one thing we are looking forward to doing and are starting to roll out is starting to work with community partners to just roll that autism acceptance out into businesses. So educating businesses on, how to make your business autism friendly, sensory friendly, just educating the staff members, etc. So it's really important to us to not just do what we do, but to educate the entire community.
All right, folks, we will continue leading the way into part 5 of this week's segment. Have a good night.
And that's the news. Remember, the source matters now more than ever. Catch all the latest on our Facebook page, YouTube page, or at WYLNTV.com. Stay with us. A look at today's weather is next, right here on WYLN TV.